Hello, in this episode, I want to talk about how Christians imagine the very first Christmas, that time when Jesus was born 2,000 years ago in Bethlehem. So, how do they imagine that? Well, it goes something like this, I think. For them, it starts with the conception when God became a fertilized egg. Then God grew as an embryo, then a fetus, and then God kicked Mary from within her womb. And then at the birth on Christmas Day, God entered the world as a baby, amid the stench of manure and cobwebs and hay in a stable, so the Gospels tell us. Mary cradled the Creator in her arms. I never imagined God would look like that, she says to herself. But I would say that the idea that God became a baby involves some serious contradictions, and therefore it cannot be true. So consider this: the idea that God, the invisible God, became visible, the untouchable became touchable, the unlimited became limited, the infinite became finite, the immutable became mutable, the unchangeable became changeable. Spirit became matter. The Almighty God became weak. Now, what lies behind all of these beliefs, these claims, is that God changes big time in his very nature. But the Bible teaches over and over that God does not change. The prophet Malachi in chapter 3, verse 6 says, "For I, the Lord, do not change." The letter of James in the New Testament, 1:17, says, "For every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows." The book of Numbers says, chapter 23, "God is not human, that he should lie, not a human being, that he should change his mind. Does he speak and then not act? Does he promise and not fulfill?" Psalm 102 tells us, "Of old you laid the foundation of the world, and the heavens are the work of your hands. They will perish, but you will remain. They will all wear out like a garment. You will change them like a robe, and they will pass away. But you are the same, and your years have no end." So it's a contradiction to say that what is essentially immutable changes. Now, there are other contradictions which will have occurred to you as well. The idea that the New Testament teaches that Jesus was tempted by the devil. It says that in the Gospels. But it also says that you can't tempt God. The Gospels say that Jesus died, but God is immortal. The New Testament also says that in 1 Timothy, that God does not die, that he's immortal. Jesus is under a God. It says in various places that Jesus has a God, but God can't be. God can't be under a God, obviously, because God is almighty. He is the creator of the heavens and the earth, the source of everything. Therefore, he is not under anyone else, or they would be God, logically. And there's a little verse here in Luke's Gospel, chapter 2, verse 40. A little verse, but it's so pregnant, pun intended, with implications. The child is referring to Jesus. The child grew and became strong, filled with wisdom, and the favour of God was upon him. That's Luke 2:40. So the Son, Jesus, grew and became strong, filled with wisdom and favour, and the favour of God was on him. So this is a changing, developing person. It's not a static kind of entity, the God-man. So there we go. So I think the idea this Christmas is that we should certainly reflect on the birth of a child, this child Jesus, but also on the later theology that grew up around him, and that it is, if you just look at it very simply and rationally and logically, it is contradictory, it is incoherent, and therefore it can't be true. And we should jettison this theology and believe in something that is purer and simpler, the monotheism that Jesus himself proclaimed to the Jews, a pure monotheism, a sincere monotheism. And also the prophets, of course, proclaim that as well. So I think that would be my Christmas message, to invite people to believe in that pure monotheism, what Muslims call Tawheed, and just to jettison these contradictory beliefs that make no sense. God doesn't change. He is immutable. He is eternal. He is almighty. He is perfect. He doesn't grow in wisdom. And God is not favoured, and the favour of God was not upon God. There is only one God as well. And there we are. Until next time.